Now let's talk about the rumors. Rumor mill, we do have a few confirmations. So we're going to start at the start and then take it away. My name is Simpson Bartholomew J. That's Bart with an art and a capital B and then Simp plus S-O-N. That's me. Okay, sorry. Really stupid. So first off, we have a confirmation from Harry Lennox that he is going to be Martian Manhunter in the Snyder Cut movie. We also have confirmation. Well, this one is more of a refutation because there was a whole lot of confusion a couple of weeks ago from a newspaper piece that written about the Snyder Cut and the DCEU going forward, and people were saying that Michael Keaton was going to be the Batman for the DCEU, which then fed into a lot of rumors saying that we were going to be seeing Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton as the old Batman, and that was actually going to then be Batgirl, and so much came from this. And now we have official, definitive statement that Michael Keaton is not going to be going for, well, as it stands right now, Michael Keaton has only signed on for one movie to be Batman. Anything beyond this is 100% speculation, and honestly, not very reliable speculation. So, take with it a grain of salt. Next, in the confirmations, refutations section for the rumor mill, we are talking about Moon Knight. Oscar Isaacs has officially been confirmed by 2 out of the 3 directors that we know are going to be working on the series. They have both talked about how wonderful it is to be working with Oscar. So there you go. Oscar is going to be our Moon Knight. Super stoked. Moving on. Speaking of the Snyder Cut, we now are talking about Zack Snyder. The Snyder-verse is definitely in question. New rumor has it that Snyder is only going to be finishing his cut of the Justice League movie and then will be moving away from the DCEU. Likelihood for this, there's nothing beyond this necessarily. There were a couple of different sources that were saying this, but likelihood for this I think is pretty strong. I feel like there has been such a bad taste left in his mouth with all of this WB nonsense, with so much going on behind the scenes, that if we can believe even half of it, even a quarter of it, this totally makes sense. So I'm putting this in a kind of sort of rumor based on rumor category, so we can't go above 50%, but I am taking it to 50% likelihood that this is legit. Next, we're talking about Flashpoint. There have been a number of new developments here, if you want to believe the behind-the-scenes gossip, all of which kind of has culminated in Ray Fisher is not going to be in the Flashpoint movie as Cyborg. Also, going a little bit further, a couple of my sources have said that that's the case to such a degree that we're not even going to get Cyborg in this new movie because it just doesn't make sense. It will mess with the continuity a little bit too much. I can buy that. The reason that we kind of know Ray Fisher's not going to be included with this, even though there hasn't been an official announcement from Warner Brothers, is because Ray Fisher has said in no uncertain terms that he is not going to be a part of any movie that is executive produced by Hamada, and Hamada just signed a new contract that's going to take him well past the Flashpoint movie. So likelihood that Ray Fisher is not going to be 90%. There's a very, very little bit of wiggle room. You know, if Warner Brothers wants to throw a pile of money at him and apologize, I think that's kind of the biggest step that they should take. I don't think they're going to get rid of Hamada, but I think there is a way to make Fisher okay with being on set that is produced by Hamada, but well, that's not super likely. So moving right along, we have Dr. Doom. This is one of my more exciting rumors. Dr. Doom, new rumor about him is that we will be seeing him in the MCU, not in the Fantastic Four movie to begin with, but in the Black Panther 2 movie. That's right. Black Panther 2 is reportedly going to be our first exposure to Dr. Doom. That is kind of where all of the rumors end, though it does kind of sound like he is going to be the post-credit stinger. He's going to be the teaser at the end of the movie. Everyone is saying he's not going to be the big bad for the movie, but we are going to see him in the armor. So likelihood for this, I feel like it's pretty strong, but not super strong. I'm putting this at about 60% likelihood that we will be seeing Doctor Doom in Black Panther 2. We know he's coming eventually. We just don't know when. So, moving right along, we have Batman the Animated Series. There is now a rumor that Warner Brothers over on HBO Max is working on a sequel series. We kind of already got 2 of those, so I don't know exactly what that means. I guess there was only from 2 places, and both places I think were citing the same source for them. So it's really from one source, and it's not the best source, but did not have any information as to whether it was going to be the original animated series or the new Batman Adventures or Batman and Robin Adventures or any of that stuff. Just said sequel animated series work in the works for HBO Max. So, yes, the animated series was one of the best things that Warner Brothers has ever animated. Sure. Yes, they are looking for a lot of new content to put on their streaming platform. Will they be able to get Conroy and Hamill to come back for the voices? Maybe. It doesn't seem super likely, though Conroy and Hamill have kind of been waffling on the idea of whether or not they're going to revisit those characters. I can't give this anything more than a 30% because of the quality of the source and because of there's way too many variables involved. Do they want it to happen? Sure. Is it in the early stages of production? Probably not. Next, we're talking about some video game rumors. We'll combine the two. I've got the 2 video game rumors. First is Grand Theft Auto 6. The new rumor is that the main character, the lead protagonist, the character that the player plays as, is going to be a female. I feel like it's very strange that we're 6 games into this series and this hasn't happened yet. So based on that alone, I'm putting this at like 70% because it's bound to happen eventually. Why not now? Especially now that this is going to be like a brand new console generation, so much extra stuff going on. Just makes sense. Our next rumor, again, staying in the video game side of things, we're talking about Aliens versus Predator. Apparently there is a new game in the works now that Disney owns those properties. This makes a bit of sense. Not the strongest source, so I can't give it too high of a percentage of likelihood, but it seems to be they're kind of gearing towards this. So we'll give it just a little bit higher than halfway there. We're going to say about 55% likelihood that we are in the early stages of an AVP video game. Our next piece is a rumor for music, which we don't get those very often, so I'm super excited about it. But there have been a number of rumors saying that Mudvayne is going to be doing at least a reunion tour sometime in 2021. So all of you heavy music listeners out there who have been waiting for this day, hopefully it happens. I love the thought of this. I know that in recent years, Chad and the guys, Chad and Matt and Ryan and Greg, have all made some sort of statement. Less so Matt on the Matt side. For those that don't know, Matt is the drummer for the band. He's been the one that has seemed to be the biggest holdout. Next in line would be Chad, but Greg and Ryan are both totally game for this to happen, judging by recent interviews with these guys. So it sounds like it is kind of a perfect storm. You know, all of the reasoning behind why Chad and Matt didn't want to do it has kind of died because of COVID, which is a weird sentence to say. So I feel like this is, as knowing all of that, I still cannot go above 40%. And honestly, in my heart of hearts, I want to give it even lower likelihood than that. But because it is such an awesome thing to think about, we're giving it that extra 10%. So 40% likelihood that we will see Mudvayne in some shape or fashion for 2021. All right, now we're back into movies. So let's talk about Venom 2. We have a couple of things. First, there is a reportedly leaked teaser trailer, kinda, sorta, just a bunch of text on screen saying that we're going to be seeing a teaser trailer or a full-blown trailer during the Super Bowl that is supposed to be releasing sometime in the next few days. So if this happens, I 100% believe it. Right now, it just looks like somebody did a really good job, because I've watched the leak, quote unquote. It just looks like kind of somebody did a really good job with making a fan-made thing, which those exist all over YouTube. You can go find a trailer for Logan 2, for crying out loud. So, is this likely? I feel like there's a pretty good possibility that we will see a lot of great trailers during the Super Bowl. I think this will be one of them. So, yes, I think this is likely to happen during the Super Bowl, which puts us right about a 60 to 70% likelihood. The other thing that we're talking about for Venom 2 is there is a new rumor saying that it will be rated R. We've already talked about this. I think this is the only way this movie works because of the introduction of the character of Carnage. Cletus Cassidy is a pretty crazy dude. So for Carnage to work the best, it needs to be rated R. So again, I'm giving this about a 60% likelihood that we will see an R rating on Venom 2. Next, we're talking about a very strange one. This is not necessarily directly related to movies, but NBC and Warner Brothers are now rumored to be in talks to merge. So NBC Universal, AT&T Warner Brothers, or Time Warner, whatever the name of that company is these days, are now apparently rumored to be merging together. I cannot buy this for multiple reasons. There is, I guess, it would be a strong contender to be fighting against Disney, but there's way too much red tape there. There's way too much government interference that needs to happen in order for this to get approved. Just doesn't seem likely. I'm going to put this at about 20% likelihood. And then we're talking about HBO Max more specifically. Now we're going to be talking a little bit more broad still is all of the DC shows that are coming to HBO Max. So the Green Lantern show, Teen Titans is, we already know this for a fact, but a number of the other shows, all of the other DC shows are now reported to be R-rated, quote unquote. So what does that mean? They're going to approach these shows like they're premium cable. They're going to approach these shows like it's on HBO or Cinemax or Showtime. Approach these shows like they're making an R-rated movie with these properties. This seems like a bit of an overstretch to say all of the shows are going to be that way. So that kind of works against it. But again, we've seen what they've done with Doom Patrol and Titans and all of these things. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that would be the way of most of the shows. All of the shows, I don't know if I buy that, but most of the shows, sure. We're going to put this right about 70% just because, again, there's a lot of evidence to support the rumor. Next, we're staying in the Warner Brothers side of things, Batwoman and Titans. There is reportedly a new rumor, and there's been actually people have said they have seen Lavicia Leslie on set for Titans Season 3, which we know they're filming right now. So, this does not seem likely. Berlanti has said pretty straight up that there will not be any crossover from the Arrowverse to the streaming verse, I guess you could call it. So I can't put a whole lot of faith in this. The source is pretty bad. We're going to say 15% likelihood that this is a thing. Mandalorian is the next piece that we're talking about, and we have a couple of rumors. First off, that we are going to be seeing Robert Downey Jr. play Thrawn in an upcoming season. They did not say specifically that it would be Season 3. So that seems weird because it seems that's exactly where this series is going, is dealing with Thrawn. But they didn't specify a season at all, so it could be Season 3. Robert Downey Jr. though, no, I don't see that happening at all. It just doesn't strike me, and this is totally speculative. I don't really have a whole lot of evidence to back this up necessarily, but it just does not seem like a thing that RDJ would do. I'm just going to put that out there like that. So, percentage that we will see Robert Downey Jr. as Thrawn, I'll give it a little bit of wiggle room. We're going to say about 10% likelihood that that's going to happen. I just really don't think it's going to happen. The other rumor for Mandalorian is we're going to be seeing another Star Wars themed holiday special. It's going to be a Mandalorian crossover event. It's going to be all of the Filoni Favreau verse series crossing over for a holiday special. Did not say it would be for 2021, But if they're going to do the one that we already know about for 2021, then maybe they'll do this for 2022. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a lot of fun to play with as a mental exercise. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll give it a little bit more wiggle room, though, just because it is so much fun. And I mean, it's Disney, so holidays, family-oriented, that kind of all makes sense. We'll say about 30% likelihood that we will see probably 2022, maybe 2023, a Mandalorian holiday special. And then our very final piece for this entire episode is MCU related. So we're kind of back and forth on that fence, right? So MCU, the new rumor is that Storm is going to be the next solo female superhero to get her own movie. This is way too reliant on the release of the X-Men in the next 2 years. There is no time frame attached to this rumor, so you can't necessarily discredit it for that, but there's just way too much that has to happen between now and then. Will she be the first female X-Men character to get her solo movie? Maybe. I don't think that any of those plans are put into motion just yet. I think they're going to introduce the X-Men as a whole before they introduce the X-Men as individuals. So that being said, I can't give this a whole lot of credence. We're going to say probably about a 30% likelihood for this one as well. And that is the end of the rumor mill, guys.